Hello everyone. Welcome to the Life Lessons channel, where we share valuable teachings about life, the soul, and finding peace in every moment. Today, we will explore a very special topic. How to keep your soul at peace in your later years, through the lens of Buddhist teachings. For many, as age increases, we may begin to feel anxious about the changes in our bodies and lives. As the days go by, sometimes it feels like we are drifting further away from inner peace, and in its place, concerns about health, family, and relationships arise. We start to think about the future with fear, worry, or even regret about the past. But have you ever asked yourself, is there a way to maintain peace in our hearts despite the passing of time? Even as age brings changes to our bodies. Buddhism teaches us that inner peace is not something distant or only available to monks. It is a state of mind that can be achieved in everyday life. Through simple yet profoundly effective practices that we can start applying today. Inner peace is not the absence of difficulties or challenges in life. It is the ability to face these challenges calmly, without letting them disturb our inner being. Like a pond, even if there are small waves caused by the wind, the bottom of the pond remains still and undisturbed. Buddhism points out that everything is impermanent, and true happiness comes from accepting life's changes naturally. Instead of resisting the changes that aging brings, we can learn to let go, live in the present moment, and focus on the beautiful things we have. Specifically, through teachings like mindfulness and letting go, we can create a peaceful mental space that allows our hearts to remain at peace as we move through our later years. In this video, we will explore simple yet profoundly effective methods that can help you achieve peace of mind, no matter your worries about the future. So, have you ever felt stressed or anxious about the changes in your life as you age? Would you like to find ways to maintain inner peace in your heart? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more valuable lessons about life, spirituality, and happiness. Let's continue our journey to inner peace in the next part of this video. Part 1: Why is inner peace important? As we age, physical and mental changes are inevitable. Health concerns, family issues, and uncertainties about the future can easily make our minds feel heavy and stressed. However, Buddhism teaches that inner peace is the true source of happiness. When our minds are at peace, we are able to face every challenge without being shaken. Achieving inner peace is a journey, a process of turning inward, where there are no worries or fears. Buddhism guides us on how to let go of burdensome thoughts and live in the present moment, and this is the key to living a joyful life in our later years. 1. Inner peace is the source of true happiness. The essence of inner peace is not being disturbed by external events, not being swept away by worries about health, finances, or relationships. When our minds are peaceful, we can view life's challenges with calmness, without being overwhelmed by negative emotions like anxiety or fear. True happiness does not come from external circumstances, but from the peace within our hearts. Buddhism teaches that when a person has inner peace, they can face any difficulty in life without letting it disrupt their inner being. This is especially important in our later years, when we often face physical and mental changes. 2. Why inner peace is important in later life. As we grow older, we cannot avoid changes in our health and body. Worries about losing our ability to care for ourselves, concerns about the absence of friends and family, or fears about death can easily cause our minds to spiral into negative emotions. However, Buddhism teaches that nothing in this life is permanent. Everything is subject to change. And change is an essential part of the human experience. A person may not avoid changes in their physical body, but their mind can remain at peace. Buddhism teaches that inner peace is not dependent on external things, but on accepting and confronting change with calmness. When we realize the impermanence of life, we no longer fear or worry about the changes that come with aging. We learn to let go of worries and focus on the present. 3. Achieving peace is a journey. Achieving inner peace is a journey. Not something that can be attained immediately. It is a process of turning inward, letting go of worries, anxieties, and fears. Buddhism teaches that inner peace comes from living in the present moment, not being torn between the past and the future. Mindfulness, one of the key practices in Buddhism, is a powerful tool to help us practice peace. Mindfulness means fully realizing what is happening in each moment without being distracted by thoughts of the past or worries about the future. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to view life in its fullness, not judging or criticizing, but simply perceiving things as they are. This helps reduce stress, anxiety, and allows our minds to be freed from internal conflict. 4. Letting go, the key to living in the present. One of the fundamental principles of Buddhism is letting go. To achieve inner peace, we must let go of burdens, unnecessary concerns, and unrealistic expectations. Buddhism teaches that attachment to impermanent things is the root of suffering. When we let go of things that no longer serve us, our minds are freed and experience peace. In our later years, letting go of worries about aging, loss, or death will help us feel lighter. Buddhism encourages us to embrace impermanence as a natural part of life. In doing so, we no longer fear or resist change, but instead, we learn to harmonize with reality. 5. Inner peace is the ultimate gift. In our later years, one of the most valuable gifts we can achieve is inner peace. When we let go of worries, live in the present, and accept all changes, we will feel profound peace. This is a gift not only for ourselves but also for those around us, because a person with inner peace can radiate calmness to others. Buddhism teaches that true happiness does not come from outside, but from inner tranquility. When we learn to face change calmly, without being driven by fear or worry, we experience ultimate freedom. Inner peace is a precious gift we can give ourselves in our later years. In Buddhist teachings, inner peace is not something difficult to attain or distant. It is a continuous journey that anyone can start now, regardless of age or circumstances. When we understand that everything is impermanent, when we learn to let go, and when we live fully in the present, our minds will become peaceful, calm, and ready to embrace whatever changes life brings. Part 2. Practicing mindfulness, inner peace in every moment. One of the most crucial practices in achieving inner peace is mindfulness. Mindfulness, or Chan Neem in Vietnamese, is the ability to live fully in the present moment, without letting the mind wander into worries about the past or the future. Buddhism teaches that mindfulness is the shortest path to tranquility. Through mindfulness, we are able to anchor ourselves in the present, experience life with clarity, and reduce the overwhelming impact of anxiety and fear. 1. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of paying full attention to the present moment, with an open and non-judgmental awareness. It involves observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise, without being swept away by them. In the Buddhist tradition, mindfulness is seen as a mental training that sharpens our ability to be present, to recognize the impermanence of each moment, and to respond to life's experiences with wisdom and composure. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we are not present. Our minds are often consumed by the past, which is filled with regrets and memories, or by the future, which is dominated by fears and uncertainties. When we are constantly lost in thoughts of what has already happened or what might come to pass, we miss the true beauty of the moment. This disconnection from the present can lead to anxiety, stress, and frustration. Mindfulness counteracts this by grounding us in the present, offering a sense of peace amidst the chaos of life. 2. The role of mindfulness in achieving peace. In the Buddhist path, mindfulness is considered one of the fundamental practices that lead to liberation from suffering. Sakyamuni Buddha himself taught mindfulness as a core part of the Noble Eightfold Path. This path is a framework that helps individuals navigate through life, seeking wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Mindfulness plays a key role in cultivating these qualities. By practicing mindfulness, we develop the ability to remain undisturbed by the fluctuations of life. Whether facing the challenges of aging, loss, or illness, mindfulness allows us to stay centered. To recognize that these experiences are temporary, and to respond with equanimity rather than fear or resistance. It teaches us that the present moment is the only reality. And that by fully embracing it, we free ourselves from the burdens of mental distractions and worries. 3. The practice of mindful breathing. One of the simplest and most effective ways to cultivate mindfulness is through mindful breathing. This practice involves bringing your full attention to the breath. Focusing on the sensation of air entering and leaving the body. In Buddhist meditation, mindful breathing is a fundamental practice that connects us to the present moment, serving as a bridge between the mind and the body. When we focus on our breath, we are immediately brought into the here and now. The breath is always with us, and by observing it, we can regain control of our attention. As you inhale, focus on the sensation of the air filling your lungs. As you exhale, feel the tension leaving your body. The rhythm of the breath becomes a natural anchor, drawing us away from anxious thoughts and grounding us in the simplicity of the present. Mindful breathing is a powerful tool to alleviate stress and anxiety, especially for those experiencing the physical and mental challenges of aging. It reminds us that, regardless of external circumstances, we always have the ability to connect with the present moment and experience calmness in our own breath. 4. Mindfulness in daily life. While mindfulness is often practiced in meditation, it can also be applied throughout our daily activities. In fact, the true power of mindfulness lies in integrating it into our everyday lives. Whether we are eating, walking, or having a conversation, we can practice mindfulness by bringing full attention to the task at hand. For example, when eating, we can focus on the taste, texture, and smell of the food, rather than letting our minds wander to the past or future. When walking, we can pay attention to the sensation of our feet touching the ground, the movement of our body, and the surroundings. In conversations, we can be fully present, listening deeply without distractions, allowing the interaction to flow naturally. This practice transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for mindfulness, bringing peace and clarity to even the busiest of days. By practicing mindfulness in these daily activities, we gradually train our minds to remain present, without judgment or distraction. Over time, this creates a deep sense of inner calm that can help us navigate life's challenges with grace and ease, especially as we age. 5. Mindfulness and acceptance. An essential aspect of mindfulness is acceptance, accepting whatever arises in the present moment without resistance. This is particularly important in our later years, when we may face physical decline or the loss of loved ones. Buddhism teaches us that suffering comes from resistance to change. When we resist aging, when we resist impermanence, we create mental and emotional turmoil. Mindfulness encourages us to accept things as they are, including our limitations, changes in our bodies, and the inevitability of death. This does not mean resignation or indifference, but rather a wise acceptance of the natural course of life. Mindfulness helps us develop a gentle awareness of what is happening in each moment, and from this awareness, we can cultivate compassion for ourselves and others. When we practice acceptance through mindfulness, we free ourselves from the mental struggle of wishing things were different. This creates space for peace, as we no longer fight against the inevitable flow of life. Instead, we learn to embrace each moment with openness and tranquility. 6. The benefits of mindfulness for the elderly. For those in their later years, mindfulness is particularly beneficial. As we age, we may face physical pain, memory loss, and emotional challenges. These experiences can easily lead to feelings of frustration, sadness, or anxiety. However, mindfulness offers a way to transform these challenges into opportunities for growth. By cultivating mindfulness, we can face the aging process with a calm and clear mind, appreciating each moment without being consumed by fears or regrets. Mindfulness also helps us develop a deeper sense of gratitude for the present, allowing us to savor the beauty of life even in its later stages. When we practice mindfulness, we are more likely to find joy in the simple things: a warm cup of tea, the sound of birds singing, the laughter of loved ones. These small moments, which might otherwise be overlooked, become rich with meaning and beauty. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for achieving inner peace and living fully in the present. By practicing mindful breathing, paying attention to our daily activities, and accepting the changes that come with aging, we can cultivate a deep sense of tranquility and clarity. Buddhism teaches that the present moment is where life happens, and through mindfulness, we can fully experience the richness of each moment. No matter our age, mindfulness allows us to live with a calm and peaceful mind, embracing the flow of life with acceptance and joy. Part 3. Letting go, the key to liberating the soul. Letting go does not mean giving up or avoiding life, rather, it is about releasing what no longer serves us. Buddhism teaches that all phenomena are impermanent, and suffering arises from clinging to things that cannot last forever. The practice of letting go is one of the most powerful tools in Buddhist teachings, offering freedom from attachments and the burdens that weigh heavily on the heart. 1. The nature of impermanence. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy lies the concept of impermanence, anicca. Everything in life, from our emotions to our relationships, from our physical bodies to the world around us, is subject to change. Nothing lasts forever. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering arises from clinging to things that are transient. We become attached to objects, people, and even ideas, believing that they will provide us with lasting happiness. However, when they inevitably change or disappear, we experience pain and loss. In our later years, this teaching becomes especially relevant. As we age, many of the things we once relied on for stability, our health, our appearance, our roles in society, are no longer the same. Letting go of these attachments is not a loss, but a necessary step toward finding peace and freedom. The act of letting go is not about resignation, but about embracing the fluidity of life and the impermanence of all things. 2. The suffering of attachment. Attachment is the cause of much of our suffering. We become attached to people, possessions, success, and even our own identities. These attachments create a sense of ownership or entitlement that binds us to a specific outcome. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as a mental habit that keeps us trapped in cycles of desire and disappointment. We chase after things, believing they will bring us happiness, but when they fade or change, we are left with a sense of emptiness and longing. For example, as we age, we may become attached to the idea of youthfulness, to the image of ourselves as physically strong and vibrant. This attachment can create deep dissatisfaction when our bodies begin to age or decline. However, Buddhism teaches that by letting go of the attachment to physical appearance or vitality, we can embrace the natural process of aging with grace and peace. Letting go of these attachments does not mean we stop caring about our health or well-being, but we learn to accept the changing nature of our bodies without resistance or fear. 3. Letting go of old habits and beliefs. As we grow older, we often carry with us old habits, beliefs, and patterns of thinking that may no longer serve us. These mental habits, formed over a lifetime, can create tension and dissatisfaction. Letting go of outdated ways of thinking, whether they are related to our self-image, our sense of purpose, or our role in the world, is essential for creating space for peace and joy. In Buddhist practice, we are encouraged to examine our attachments to habitual thoughts and behaviors. These habits often arise from fear, insecurity, or a desire for control. We may be attached to the idea of being in control of every aspect of our lives, from our relationships to our daily routines. However, the Buddha teaches that control is an illusion. And true freedom comes when we relinquish the need to control every outcome. By letting go of old habits and outdated beliefs, we free ourselves from the cycle of self-criticism and judgment. We allow ourselves to evolve, shedding the weight of expectations and embracing the possibility of new growth in the present moment. This process of letting go creates a sense of lightness and openness, allowing us to experience life with fresh eyes and an open heart. 4. Letting go of relationships that no longer serve us. As we age, our relationships naturally change. Some friendships deepen, while others may fade. We may find that certain relationships no longer contribute to our well-being or happiness. In Buddhism, it is taught that attachment to relationships can also cause suffering. While love and connection are important, we must be mindful of attachment to people, especially when those relationships no longer align with our values or contribute to our peace. Letting go of relationships that are no longer supportive or healthy is an act of compassion, both for ourselves and for others. It is not about rejecting people, but about recognizing that certain connections may have served their purpose and are now hindering our growth. Sometimes, we hold on to relationships out of fear of loneliness or a desire for approval. However, Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes when we no longer feel dependent on others for validation. Letting go of unhealthy relationships can open the space for more meaningful and nurturing connections. It allows us to surround ourselves with people who support our growth and contribute to our peace. In the end, freedom from attachment to relationships leads to a deeper sense of self-reliance and inner peace. 5. Letting go of expectations about ourselves. One of the most challenging attachments to release is the attachment to our identity. As we age, we often have fixed ideas about who we are, what we should be doing, and what we should have accomplished by a certain age. These expectations create pressure and can lead to feelings of inadequacy or failure. Letting go of these expectations does not mean giving up on our dreams or aspirations, but it means releasing the rigid notion of how we think our lives should unfold. In Buddhism, the practice of non-attachment to identity is key to achieving peace. When we let go of the need to define ourselves by external labels, such as career, appearance, or achievements, we free ourselves from the pressure to conform to societal expectations. This allows us to embrace who we are in the present moment, without feeling burdened by the need to meet preconceived ideals. Letting go of self-expectations also allows us to accept our imperfections. We no longer feel the need to be perfect or to meet the standards set by others. Instead, we learn to love and accept ourselves as we are, free from judgment or comparison. 6. The peace of letting go. Ultimately, letting go is an act of liberation. It is the act of freeing the heart from the weight of attachments that limit our peace and happiness. By letting go of what no longer serves us, whether it is old habits, relationships, or expectations, we create space for new possibilities. We open our hearts to the present moment and allow ourselves to experience life with greater clarity and joy. Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes from letting go of attachments to things, people, and ideas. It is a process of unburdening the heart, of releasing the mental clutter that clouds our judgment and prevents us from experiencing life fully. When we let go, we make room for peace. And in this space of peace, we find the freedom to live authentically and joyfully, regardless of our age or circumstances. Letting go is a transformative practice that can bring deep peace and freedom to our lives. By releasing attachments to the past, the future, and the things we no longer need, we can experience a lighter, more joyful existence. In our later years, letting go allows us to embrace the present, accept the impermanence of life, and find peace in every moment. Freedom comes not from holding on, but from letting go. Part 4. Focusing on compassion and loving kindness. Compassion, karu, and loving-kindness, metta, are two of the most important virtues in Buddhist teachings. These qualities are not only essential for the well-being of others, but they also play a profound role in our own inner peace and spiritual growth. The practice of cultivating compassion and loving-kindness helps us shift our focus from self-centered concerns to a more expansive, interconnected view of life. 1. The importance of compassion and loving-kindness in Buddhism. In Buddhism, compassion is the heartfelt wish for all beings to be free from suffering, while loving-kindness is the active desire to bring happiness and peace to others. Both are rooted in the understanding of interdependence, the Buddhist principle that all beings are interconnected. The Buddha taught that all beings experience suffering, and as we develop compassion, we recognize the shared nature of this experience. We can then extend our kindness and empathy to others, acknowledging that their suffering is not separate from our own. The Buddha also emphasized that true happiness arises from the selfless love and care we extend to others. Compassion and loving-kindness are transformative practices that create a ripple effect. By offering peace and goodwill to others, we cultivate the same within ourselves. This is why compassion is not only an outward expression of care, but also an inward practice that brings profound peace and contentment. In the later years of life, cultivating compassion becomes even more crucial. As we age, we often become more aware of the fragility of life. And this awareness can foster a deeper understanding of the suffering that all beings face. The practice of compassion allows us to transcend personal anxieties and focus on the well-being of others. In doing so, we find that our own fears and worries diminish, and we experience a greater sense of connection with the world around us. 2. Healing through compassion. The power of loving-kindness. Loving-kindness, or metta, is the practice of wishing others well and extending goodwill to all beings, without distinction. It is an unconditional love that does not rely on external conditions or expectations. When we practice metta, we let go of any judgments or limitations about who is deserving of our kindness. This kind of love is expansive and all-encompassing, embracing all beings, friends, strangers, and even those we may find difficult to love. As we age, we may experience a natural tendency to withdraw from others, especially if we feel disconnected or isolated. However, practicing loving-kindness can bridge these gaps and open our hearts to others. By consciously wishing well to those around us, whether it be through kind words, gestures, or prayers, we begin to soften our hearts and feel a deeper connection to humanity. Loving-kindness also has the power to heal past wounds. As we practice compassion, we release the resentment or grudges that may have accumulated over the years. We let go of the belief that we need to hold on to old hurts in order to protect ourselves. Instead, we open ourselves to forgiveness, understanding that holding on to negative emotions only prolongs our suffering. In Buddhism, the practice of loving-kindness is often formalized in meditation. During a metta bhavana, loving-kindness meditation, practitioners silently repeat phrases like, "May all beings be happy, may all beings be free from suffering." By focusing on these intentions, we cultivate a heart that is filled with love and compassion for all living beings, including ourselves. This practice is an effective tool for healing and can create a profound sense of inner peace and well-being, especially in the later stages of life. 3. Loving-kindness as a practice for aging gracefully. As we age, it is natural to experience feelings of vulnerability and loss. These emotions can sometimes lead to isolation or self-centered thinking. We may become overly focused on our own limitations or worries, which can increase feelings of fear and anxiety. However, the practice of loving-kindness can help us shift our focus from our fears to a greater sense of connection with the world. By consciously nurturing compassion and loving-kindness toward others, we begin to let go of the desire to be perfect or self-sufficient. We realize that we are not isolated beings, we are part of a larger whole. Our lives are interconnected with the lives of others. And through kindness, we strengthen these bonds. This realization can bring profound comfort, as we come to understand that we are supported by a web of relationships and shared experiences. Additionally, loving kindness helps us confront aging with greater acceptance. As we practice loving kindness toward ourselves, we begin to embrace the natural process of aging without resistance or fear. Instead of mourning the loss of youth or vitality, we learn to appreciate the wisdom and experience that comes with age. Loving kindness allows us to see ourselves through compassionate eyes, understanding that we are deserving of love and care at every stage of life. 4. Compassion for others. A path to inner peace. One of the most profound ways to practice compassion is through service to others. As we age, we may feel a desire to give back or to make a positive impact on the lives of those around us. Compassionate service, whether through small acts of kindness or larger community initiatives, can bring a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. Buddhism teaches that acts of kindness and compassion are not limited to grand gestures. Even small, everyday actions, like offering a smile, a listening ear, or a helping hand, can have a significant impact on both the giver and the receiver. These acts not only create happiness in the present moment, but they also contribute to our long-term spiritual growth. Every act of compassion nourishes our hearts and creates positive karmic seeds for the future. The practice of compassion also helps us deal with the challenges of aging, such as loneliness or loss. When we focus on the well-being of others, we shift our attention away from our own fears and worries. We become more engaged with the world, finding joy in giving rather than receiving. This shift in focus creates a sense of abundance and gratitude, which are key components of a peaceful and fulfilling life. 5. The compassionate heart, a source of inner freedom. Ultimately, the practice of compassion and loving kindness leads to inner freedom. As we open our hearts to others, we free ourselves from the self-imposed limitations that prevent us from experiencing true peace. Compassion dissolves the walls of separation that we create through our fears and judgments, allowing us to experience the interconnectedness of all life. In Buddhism, the heart that is filled with compassion is the heart that is free from attachment and ego. This freedom does not mean detaching from the world, but rather embracing the world with an open and loving heart. It means accepting others as they are and letting go of expectations or desires for them to be different. When we approach life with a compassionate heart, we see others as they truly are, beings who, like ourselves, seek happiness and freedom from suffering. In the later years of life, cultivating a compassionate heart offers the freedom to release bitterness, forgive past hurts, and celebrate the interconnectedness of all beings. It is a practice that creates an inner sanctuary of peace, where we can find comfort and solace, no matter the external circumstances. Compassion and loving kindness are not just beautiful ideals, they are powerful practices that bring profound peace and happiness into our lives. As we age, the practice of compassion helps us navigate the challenges of aging with grace, acceptance, and love. By focusing on the well-being of others and embracing the interconnectedness of all beings, we create a life filled with meaning, purpose, and inner peace. Through compassion, we find not only the liberation of the heart, but the ultimate freedom to live a life of joy and fulfillment, no matter our age. Part 5. Living each day as a sacred ritual. In Buddhism, living each day with mindfulness and reverence is a powerful practice that cultivates lasting inner peace. The idea of living each day as a sacred ritual involves treating every moment and every action with deep respect, seeing each part of life as meaningful and valuable. It encourages us to slow down, focus on the present, and appreciate the simple yet profound nature of existence. 1. The concept of living with reverence. Living each day as a sacred ritual is about aligning our daily life with a higher purpose. It's not necessarily about performing grand ceremonies or rituals, but about treating every action, no matter how small, as a sacred offering. This perspective is deeply rooted in Buddhist teachings. which emphasize mindfulness and the recognition that everything in life is interconnected and impermanent. In Buddhist philosophy, everything we do can become an act of reverence if we engage in it with awareness, intention, and gratitude. Whether it's preparing a meal, interacting with others, or simply sitting in meditation, every act can be approached with the mindset of offering it up as a sacred practice. By bringing awareness to our actions, we transform even the most mundane activities into acts of spiritual significance. For example, when we wake up in the morning, instead of rushing through our day, we can approach each task with mindfulness. As we brush our teeth, we can be fully present, appreciating the sensation in the act itself. When we eat, we can savor every bite, acknowledging the nourishment it provides. When we engage in conversation, we can listen with full attention, honoring the person we are communicating with. These simple actions, when performed with reverence, become rituals of gratitude and mindfulness, transforming our everyday life into a spiritual practice. 2. The power of simplicity. Living with reverence does not require grand gestures or complicated rituals. It is about simplifying our lives and focusing on what truly matters. Buddhism teaches that attachment to material possessions and external achievements often leads to suffering. When we let go of the need to accumulate more or seek validation from the outside world, we begin to find peace in simplicity. A simple life allows us to focus on what is truly meaningful. We can find joy in small things, like a quiet moment with a loved one, a walk in nature, or simply sitting in stillness. These moments, when fully appreciated, become sacred and nourishing. Buddhism encourages us to practice contentment, to find satisfaction in the present rather than seeking external sources of happiness. By simplifying our habits, possessions, and expectations, we create space for a more meaningful and peaceful existence. This doesn't mean we abandon all desires or material needs, but rather we learn to detach from the constant craving for more. We come to recognize that everything we need for peace and fulfillment is already within us, and that true contentment arises from appreciating the present moment. 3. Mindful self-care and gratitude. A critical part of living each day as a sacred ritual is practicing mindful self-care. The Buddha emphasized the importance of caring for our bodies, minds, and spirits. In the later years of life, self-care becomes even more important as our bodies and minds may require more attention. However, self-care in Buddhism is not about indulgence. It is about maintaining balance and harmony within ourselves. Mindful self-care involves recognizing our needs and taking the time to care for them without guilt or rushing. It might include practicing meditation, engaging in gentle physical exercise, eating nourishing food, or simply allowing ourselves to rest. When we engage in these practices, we are honoring our body as a sacred vessel for our spiritual journey. In addition, expressing gratitude is a key aspect of living mindfully. Every day, we can take a moment to reflect on what we are grateful for. This practice shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant in our lives. Gratitude helps us recognize the beauty in the ordinary and fosters a sense of peace. In Buddhism, the practice of gratitude is deeply connected to the teachings of impermanence. By appreciating the present moment, we learn to let go of our attachment to the past or future, and we come to understand that every moment is a gift. 4. Cultivating compassion and generosity. Living each day as a sacred ritual also involves nurturing our relationships with others through compassion and generosity. In Buddhism, compassion is seen as the highest form of love. It is the genuine desire to alleviate the suffering of others and to help them find peace. By cultivating compassion, we create an environment of love and understanding, not only for others but also for ourselves. Generosity is another essential aspect of living with reverence. Buddhism teaches that by giving, whether it's time, resources, or love, we free ourselves from the attachment to self and material possessions. Generosity also has the power to foster deeper connections with others and to create a sense of community and mutual support. In the later years of life, generosity can be a way of giving back to the world, contributing to the well-being of others, and leaving a legacy of kindness and care. Small acts of kindness, such as helping a neighbor, volunteering at a local charity, or simply offering a smile or a listening ear, all contribute to living each day as a sacred ritual. These acts of generosity and compassion are expressions of our interconnectedness with all beings and our commitment to fostering peace in the world. 5. Mindful living and the art of letting go. Finally, living each day as a sacred ritual involves the art of letting go. In Buddhism, detachment is not about renouncing life, but about releasing our attachment to the results of our actions, desires, and expectations. By letting go of the need to control outcomes or fixate on the past, we open ourselves to the beauty of the present moment. When we approach life with the understanding that everything is impermanent, we begin to appreciate the fleeting nature of existence. Instead of clinging to material possessions, past achievements, or future goals, we can focus on living fully in the moment. Every breath, every step, and every interaction becomes a sacred offering. A reminder that life is precious and worth living with intention and reverence. In the later years of life, letting go also means releasing any emotional baggage or regrets from the past. It means forgiving ourselves and others and embracing the present with an open heart. Through the practice of mindful living, we learn to accept what comes and go with the flow of life, finding peace in the process of letting go. A sacred life of peace and gratitude. In conclusion, living each day as a sacred ritual is about living with purpose, mindfulness, and reverence. By simplifying our lives, practicing self-care, cultivating compassion and generosity, and letting go of attachments, we create a life that is meaningful and full of peace. Buddhism teaches us that every moment is an opportunity to connect with the divine, to cultivate inner peace, and to embrace the present with gratitude. As we enter the later stages of life, living mindfully becomes even more important. It allows us to appreciate the beauty of life, deepen our relationships with others, and experience the profound peace that comes from living with intention and reverence. In this way, each day becomes not just another day, but a sacred ritual, a celebration of life, love, and the present moment. Conclusion. So, to achieve inner peace in the later years of life, it's essential to practice mindfulness, let go of unnecessary attachments, cultivate compassion and loving kindness, and live fully in each moment. These teachings from Buddhism offer valuable guidance on how to create a peaceful, serene life regardless of age or circumstances. The practice of mindfulness allows us to stay present, to engage with each moment without being distracted by worries about the past or future. Buddhism teaches that peace is found within and that by turning inward, we can experience stillness and contentment that transcends external situations. Whether it's through mindful breathing or simply paying attention to our daily actions, mindfulness helps us cultivate peace in the present moment. Letting go is another key aspect. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment to material things, people, or even our own ideas and beliefs. In the later stages of life, we may naturally encounter the process of letting go, whether it's letting go of physical strength, past regrets, or outdated beliefs. By practicing detachment, we free ourselves from the chains of the past and open ourselves to peace and joy in the present. Compassion and loving kindness are also foundational in creating a peaceful mind and heart. By practicing compassion, we not only ease the suffering of others, but we also soften our own hearts, making space for peace and understanding. Through the lens of Buddhism, every act of kindness we extend to others is also an act of kindness to ourselves. This reciprocity fosters a life filled with connection, empathy, and a sense of shared humanity. Living fully in each moment is a powerful way to experience peace. By appreciating the simple, often overlooked aspects of life, we begin to see them as sacred. Each moment becomes a gift. And we are reminded that our time is precious. Whether we are with loved ones, practicing self-care, or simply resting in solitude, each moment holds the potential for peace. Buddhism teaches that by living fully in the present, we unlock the key to happiness and tranquility. By integrating these practices into our lives, we can create an environment of peace and serenity that endures. The Buddhist path invites us to cultivate peace not only in our minds but also in our actions, relationships, and the world around us. It encourages us to nurture a life of simplicity, gratitude, and mindfulness, leading us to inner fulfillment and lasting peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you found these lessons helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Life Lessons channel for more meaningful videos about life, spirituality, and happiness. May you always have a peaceful and serene heart, no matter the time or circumstances.